All right. Well, we went live on one thing, but not another. But hello, everybody. I think we're all here now. Welcome to Story on the Spot. My name is Jim Heskett, and over there is Kevin Tumlinson. Down there says I shot a man in Reno, probably just to watch him die, or maybe for some other reason. I don't know. R.A. McGee can tell us about it. And Mr. Nick Thacker, it says Into the Unknown. And you know what? We'll be right back after the introduction. All right, and welcome back. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Everybody say how you're feeling on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Flaccid.
Hydrated.
Nick's just not going to participate.
Silence of the Nick.
Nick, are you there? Can you hear us? He's pretending like he can't hear us. Okay.
He's just trying to give.
Knock it off. Okay, so if you look up here at the top right, you'll see we've got a new logo up there. That's a QR code. So if you're watching this on your if you're watching this on your phone, that doesn't help. But if you're watching it on a laptop or a desktop, you can scan that to go right to storyonthespot.com. Or I'm storyonthespot.live. Sorry, not .com.
Just redirected to jimheskett.com.
It's jimheskett.com/sots because storyonthespot.live is not its own website. Thank you very much, Nick Thacker, for
Okay, that's not the first time I've been to that website. Of course not.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing here today.
In the back.
It's the back of the QR code needs. Wow. Nice. We were going to have a special guest today, but that did not pan out. So it's just the OG crew, but I think we're still going to have some fun. Let me explain what we do here. You're watching. You're going to want to, step one, watch each pitch in a round. You're going to vote by comment, see which one you like the best. And then next week, you'll tune in to see the winner. And speaking of last week's winner, week 20 was Mr.
Right.
Kevin Tumlinson.
Hey, look at that.
Ooh.
That's 2 in a row. That's 2 in a row.
Kevin snuck in some extra secret words, I think, that put him over the top there. So if you do say the secret word, you're going to get that. And what is our secret word of today? Today's bonus word is augment, which is a verb to make something greater by adding to it or increasing. So if when you're pitching a story, if you work the word augment in, you'll get one of these guys, and that should be its own reward.
Can I just give you a shout out to the slideshow? I just love the template design for that slideshow. It looks like a Google Doc, and then your transition from slide to slide, it's like you're scrolling. I love it. It's really good.
Thank you. Yeah,
I like those
lot of work went into this guy. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. I'm committed to your success.
Literally like tens of minutes.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this news item, and then these three gentlemen are going to pitch story ideas, and you watching, you can vote by comment for which story pitch you like the best. This is called Ready to Take the Plunge. People in the United Arab Emirates depend heavily on expensive desalination for drinking water, but a local businessman has a novel idea for providing fresh water to the Arabian Gulf. Abdullah Al-Shehi wants to borrow an iceberg from Antarctica. For years, Al-Shehi has been working on a plan to tow an iceberg as much as 1.25 miles long and a third of a mile wide, the entire 5,500 miles to the UAE coast. He estimates the journey will take 10 months. A trial run this year will move a smaller iceberg at a cost of $60 to $80 million. So Abdullah Al-Shehi wants to bring an iceberg from the Antarctic to the UAE to provide water for the people. But what's really going on here is ... I
got it. This is easy. I mean, this is so obvious.
Wait, we should rock, paper, scissors for it.
We should. Okay, here we go.
Wait a minute.
You didn't do it at the same time.
You don't even know how to play rock, paper, scissors, Kevin. You can't just wait for me to throw and then be like, yeah, I keep this one. This one wins.
1, 2, 3, shoot, right?
I did the thing.
All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3,
before
shoot.
you even started.
All right.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
I don't think Kevin knows how to play. Can we take a sidebar and teach Kevin how to play rock, paper, scissors?
I don't know.
We don't have time for that.
I think that might be outside the scope of
Rock
this
beats everything.
podcast. Nick, why don't you just start talking?
Listen, I'll go first. I'll go first. Wait, Nick will go first.
Go
You
ahead,
got an
Nick.
idea. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Here's it's classic case of the Russians getting involved where they shouldn't be involved. Now, here's what they want to do. They're working with the UAE on this little scheme because if the UAE does it, they're a little bit, they have a little bit better reputation with the United Nations, and so they are going to get away with it because this right now just seems like a half-baked idea. But what's really going to happen is Russia is going to supply all the ships needed and all the money needed to get all the icebergs from the Arctic Circle down to the UAE for fresh drinking water. What that's going to do is cause more and more rapidly warming of the ocean area when less icebergs and stuff, and basically free up the Arctic Circle, which is covered in ice mostly, and it will all of a sudden provide Russia with a bunch of northern seaports for their navy once all the ice melts and is gone. So they're interested in getting the ice away, and they're going to partner. They're secretly partnering with the UAE to make it happen.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Lisa Badger says, hi, boys. Hello, Lisa. We're glad you made it live, even though we're a little bit later today than usual. It's probably past Lisa's bedtime, so we appreciate you being here. We put the story back up here so you guys and our audience can take another look at it. Now, yeah. Kevin or RA?
I got this. I'm up.
All right, Kevin.
All right. I'm thinking what we have is a scenario where they retrieve this iceberg and they bring it back, but unbeknownst to them, within the iceberg is a captured god who is under a curse, and the curse is lifted if he sets foot on Arab soil. So unbeknownst to any of the people bringing this iceberg back, they're about to unleash literal hell on earth when this god awakens from his icy tomb. Because once he sets foot on Arab soil, his powers are greatly augmented. And so he becomes a terror to the entire world. So as the ice thaws and we begin to see this, of course, the archaeological community becomes interested in it, and they start sending people, and Dr. Dan Kotler shows up and buy Kevin's books. Oh, I'm sorry. That turned into a marketing campaign by the way. I'm augmenting my sales.
You should have 0.3 new sales after this.
All right. I can finally buy creamer for that coffee.
All right. What do you got?
All right. So it's kind of similar to Kevin's, and I'm not going to try to change my mind right now. So it just is. It just is what it is. I should have went second. What I think that we're dealing with is that the guy who wants to bring the iceberg, his name's Abdullah. What they don't tell you is that when he was a child, he was adopted by a nice Japanese family. All right. And so he grew up learning the legends of the Kaiju and things like that. And so as the world gets crazier and crazier, he's convinced that the biggest Kaiju ever is going to return from the depths of the ocean, and that Godzilla is going to show up at some point and just wreak havoc on the land. And so he wants to figure out a way to augment humanity's defense against these giant Kaiju. And so he remembers reading in an old storybook that the ultimate, giant monster is trapped in the ice in Antarctica. And so his ideal is that he'll get them out of the ice, break them off of the entire glacier, and then tow them back. And then in the UAE, it's a lot hotter than most places. It can thaw, the ice faster and get his, the ultimate Kaiju deterrent weapon thawed out of the ice. And so I think that's what our guy's trying to do here. And it's a way to help save humanity. So
Kaiju deterrent would be a good episode title. That's going on the maybe list for sure. All right. So if you are watching now, go vote. It doesn't matter if you're watching live or watching a replay. You can still go vote by comment for which of those three pitches you thought was your favorite. And now, you know what? We're going to have a bonus round. Nice. So
I
this
stayed
one,
up all night practicing for this one.
this one, I feel so good about it. I even made its own graphic because I think this one's going to stick around. This is called Interrupter, and this is our official Interrupter mascot. This guy. I Googled image searched cool guy, and that was one of the things that came up.
Is that
Pretty
Gart?
sure that's Dave Behrens.
It does look like Dave Behrens. I don't, as far as I know, that's not David Behrens, but it might be. So,
have you ever seen that guy and David Behrens in the same room together?
Have you ever seen Batman and David Behrens in the same room? Exactly.
That's amazing. That's a great point, Nick. So here's how this works. This is called Interrupter. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give a story prompt, and then I'm going to start a timer on my phone. And then I have to get the timer ready too. That's one thing I didn't do first off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a story prompt, and I'm going to start a timer. Then somebody starts talking, and let that person get at least a sentence or two out. And then someone can say beep and interrupt and take over the story. Now the idea is whoever, but you can't just say beep, 2 seconds after somebody else said it. You got to at least let them get a little bit of the story out, and then you have to continue it when you say beep. And whoever is talking when the timer goes off is the winner. So I am going to get this timer ready. Now I am going to show you the story prompt. Once upon a time, there was a tech.
Did I do it right?
Nope.
Oh.
You have to wait till I say go. Damn it, Nick. Once upon a time, there was
what's this called again?
Oh my God, I hate you guys so much. Once upon a time, there was a tech support specialist who worked at a call center until one day, opening the office door revealed everyone and everything inside simply gone. Now go.
He starts looking around and he notices that the copy machine in the corner is on and has been printing something all night long. What he notices that it's been printing is
nobody's interrupting you yet, dude.
No one's interrupting me yet. Can I beep myself?
You can keep talking.
Kevin's turn.
I beeped myself. All right, beep. What he's noticing is that what's being printed on the copier is the face of everyone who was in the building the last time he was there. So each person is being printed one by one on this copier. And as
beep,
he looks a little closer,
beep, and then he leans in and stares at their faces, and he realizes that he is not alone in the office building. There's someone in the bathroom. There's someone in the bathroom.
He sees that in the pictures of all these people, this same person that's in the bathroom is somewhere in the picture of the people that's being printed out. There's like a person in the background, usually fuzzy and kind of hard to see, but they're in every single picture that's coming out.
And the person who is in every single picture, eventually the image resolves and the fuzziness clears, and it turns out that it is this guy. He has somehow been replicated and is now grabbing everyone's souls and shoving them into this copier from hell. Beep.
Beep. Beep.
And it feels like a climactic scene. I think maybe we're just...
now that Kevin ended it,
need time for the denouement.
Beep. And so as they're being shoved into the copier, the man realizes that the only way to save them is to plunge copy toner into his replicants.
Beep. And he realizes that what happens when he tries to put toner in is the copy machine itself comes to life and starts trying to chomp his arm off.
Nick is our winner.
I'm kind of happy to let Nick win that.
Yeah, well done, sir. You deserve it after the epic opening intro.
I don't know where it was going. I'm like, surely my words will be the last thing anyone hears in this story. Surely, beep. The
Copier from hell. That's a good title, Desiree. I think that went pretty well. Sometimes these bonus rounds, I just like, this might be cool, and then I bring it in here, and you guys are like, oh, this is dumb. Well, I think that one worked out pretty well. That might make a return visit in a future episode.
Record Kevin going womp womp and have that be a sound effect you can throw in.
All right, guys, here's our next story to pitch. Using the weapons at hand, Michigan State Police responded to a call in Gibson Township and seized a muzzle-loader pistol from a man involved in a dispute over a camping trailer, which is a little bit hashtag topical. This story is here just for Kevin. Trooper David Crandall said officers discovered a 58-year-old man and a female relative had arrived at the property to pick up the trailer, but the 55-year-old man who lived there didn't believe they were the rightful owners. The resident allegedly used the gun to strike the older man, which prompted the woman to grab a shovel and hit the resident on the head. Police arrested the resident for felonious assault. Further charges are pending.
All right, I got this one. I'm ready.
All right.
This is a clear case of time travel. What some people don't know about Michigan is it's one of the hot spots in the world. There's these like intersecting like ley lines where there's just craziness going on. You know, the Nazca lines and Stonehenge and Easter Island and all that stuff. Well, in Michigan, the further north that you get towards the UP, the weirder things get. No one really knows why, but that's why people on the UP are kind of crazy up there. Well, I think what happened is I think our guy, I've offended Kevin talking about Michigan.
No.
He's gone native. I'm sorry, man. I really like Michigan. And so he was out hunting in the 1880s. That's where the muzzle loading pistol came from. And he stepped into one of these vortexes. And when he came out of it, he was in present day. And so he's stumbling around and he goes back to the place where his house was. And everything's just kind of changed and things are in shambles. And it's just a shock to him. And so when this couple came to take some of the property, he decided that this is my stuff, even if it is 100 years in the future, 120 years in the future. And that's why he just started clubbing people with the muzzle loader. And I think we'll get him sorted out pretty soon. So,
well, that's all well and good, I think. But the actual answer is that this is a classic story of an archaeological husband-wife duo who have discovered that there is an ancient burial site right on the land the trailer's on. And what it is actually the burial site is sort of like a it's sort of like a fountain of youth, right? Where you bury your dead there, and then anyone who's related to that person directly, son or daughter or whatever, can live forever. And so they've discovered this, and they want to see if it's real. They discovered that there's actually a trailer parked directly on top of this burial site. And so they go there with their shovel, and they're ready to go, and they try to talk to this guy and figure it out. And he's kind of a crazy wacko and hits him over the head. And she hits him with the shovel. And what actually ends up turning, what comes out later is that it turns out this guy who whacked him with his ancient pistol is that he actually knows about this burial site, and he has killed his own wife and buried her there in order to try to get his kids immortality. But he doesn't want anybody to know that he knows that, because otherwise they'll come and they'll take his trailer away and they'll take his burial site away, and his secret will not live on.
Okay. Thanks, Nick.
You're quite welcome, Jim.
Kevin, what do you got for us?
Okay. So what we actually have here, I mean, those are good. But what's really happening?
You know what we need is Craig. We need Craig back to be like, well, we know it's not time travel. Let me tell you what it is.
since it's neither of those two stories.
Story blocking.
What we actually have is this guy is actually a member of a very long-lived race or group, rather, of witch hunters and or vampire hunters. Basically, anything supernatural. Like these guys have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. He's a couple hundred years old. This pistol was sort of his weapon of choice back in his youth. But they stick around, and they've actually he's the last of their kind, and he can't go out in the world and hunt for these things anymore. So he's devised a way to bring his prey to him. And so what he does is he casts this spell that wipes the memory of like vampires and witches and things like that, and then gives them the urge to come to this property. And so he's drawing them in, and the pistol is laced with like silver and all kinds of enchantments and things that augment its power. And so he's bringing in all these like witches, vampires, things like that, and ends up using the weapon to take them out. But he's not able to load it fast enough to stop these two, and they come after him with a shovel. So he's starting to strike them and manages to strike them down. But the key to this, of course, would be that we don't know that these two are vampires or anything until the very end of the book. I've spoiled it for you here for your reading enjoyment later.
In
But you
real
could
life,
like you could put some really good like Easter eggs early on, like she's eating like a clove of garlic in the car on the way to try to like bolster her immunity.
no one would ever
She has a
figure it out.
severe garlic allergy.
He's like
They're always
driving
wearing-
while stabbing himself in the heart with a wooden stake.
They're wearing like SPF 5000 sunblock.
There's something wrong with her compact mirror. She's trying to put on makeup. I can't see my lips. I don't know what the problem is.
I keep
They're-
catching a glare off of the window.
They're both sparkling a lot, and he carries her up the mountain like running like this.
Okay,
But
sorry,
my-
was that-
no,
was that
You've
too
gone too
specific?
far. You've gone too far now.
that's enough. Here's our final story.
I feel like that means I won this round.
Here's our last story of the day. This one's pretty fun. This is called Bright Idea. Officials in Amsterdam have installed 12 hemp-filled urinals around that city's notorious red light district in an attempt to control, if not eliminate, late-night public urination or wild peeing. The boxes, called green peas, get it, resemble planters, and the hemp filters inside turn urine into an organic fertilizer and water that feed the plantings on top. During initial trials, inventor Richard Lung said there's a 50% reduction in wild peeing. It was a great success. For his next project, Lung is researching how electricity can be generated whenever someone pees into one of his green peas. So around Amsterdam, they've got these urinals that you pee into it, and it actually...
It's all fun and games until somebody decides to smoke the urinal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Desiree doesn't like the sparkling vampires, Nick.
Agreed.
All right, who wants to be the first to pitch us a story about the 12 hemp-filled urinals around Amsterdam's red light district?
So I'll go. Since I don't think I've gone first yet.
All right, Kevin.
Okay, so this is an attempt to. This is yet another unknown last quote unquote member of our witch hunters guild, and this is one of the ways that they've decided to try to track down their prey. They are having them voluntarily donate DNA samples, but things go a little awry here because this particular witch hunter has decided that the real money, the real game, is in cloning and enslaving a race of powerful beings such as this, augmented beings, as you might say. And so they're collecting these DNA samples not to stop these people, but to raise their own genetically modified army of vampires, witches, and werewolves, so that they can march out and maybe their motives are true or altruistic this time around. They're actually going to use these clones to go hunt the real undead and other nasties in the world instead of trying to take over the world like I usually go. I usually skew towards world domination.
Or
Then I
hellmouths.
go, or hellmouths.
You've done that 3 weeks in a row now.
So there's a hellmouth under the urinal.
I'm sorry, Kev, that I
No.
was laughing. I just can't help every time you say augment and Nick gives this like son of a bitch.
Well, you stepped all over my joke because I was going to say peeing into the hellmouth is the pee into my hellmouth is the name of this story. Pee into my hellmouth.
All right, who's
Man.
the sandwich?
I augmented the story with that title.
Oh, goodness. All right. I think I'll go. I'll let
Okay.
Nick back clean up this.
Okay, all right.
Because of the pee and cleanup. Never mind. All right. So in any event, I think that we are dealing with someone that we all know very well from his literary endeavors, and I think that we are dealing with Dr. Frankenstein. That's who this doctor is. Okay. And he, after being on the run, for many years and losing track of his original creation, he's tried to lay low and move to wherever he can. where he has like a target-rich environment of subjects to work on. And so he's found that, you know, Amsterdam is so permissive in general with vice crimes and things like that, that, you know, he's found it to be pretty lucrative to snatch women working in the red light district and experiment on them. But what he's coming up with is that the strains in their blood isn't enough to get him what he needs. You know, everybody's just kind of comes from the same ethnic background up there. And so he's realizing that the real valuable cache of genetic information comes from the people that are visiting the red light district, because there are all kinds of people from all over the world. And so he sets up these urinals as a way to capture their genetic material and then manipulate it and then put it with the strains that he gets from the working girls to try to augment the power of the new Frankenstein's monster that he's working on. Frankenstein's monster version 4.0. And the twist of the story is the original, the OG Frankenstein's monster comes back and battles the newest creations and saves Amsterdam from his creator.
I think it would be an interesting twist if the original Frankenstein's monster came back and peed in the urinal, so that
wow, dude, that
now
would be
he
crazy.
Controls this progeny of clones.
That's right. You have had my urine in you.
Wait, I was supposed to start that with
Listen.
beep, right? Beep. I think it would be necessary.
One P to rule them all.
That's right, man.
All right, I believe Nick Thacker. I think it's just you left.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think actually, I don't think I know. This classic story is clearly to me about the city of Amsterdam has been trying to figure out how to clean up their red light district a little bit and just make it a little safer. There's been some crime and some petty theft, things like that have just kind of been on the rise. And they've discovered that one way to do this is to try to get people from it's sort of the broken window fallacy, right? And so they can get people to stop peeing in random spots, then they can clean it up a little bit. That's what the story says on face level. What's really happening is there's one person on city council who has decided to take matters into his own hands, and he has partnered up with a private investigator. You might call him a PI, and he yeah, see, I like that. I just thought of that right now too. And he's found out a way to cook up this hemp-based chemical that will actually release fumes into the air, and it's deadly. And so he's discovered that these people will pee into these hemp buckets, and then they'll die. And so problem solved. So he's basically killing people who pee into these little urinal things, and has figured out that he can claim, it's all part of this Greenpeace sort of ploy to make things a little cleaner and better, when it's actually just solving the problem once and for all. I mean, whoever was going to pee in the middle of the street is just that they don't need to be alive anyway. I think we can all agree about that.
You're in trouble if you're peeing in the middle of the street.
All right, thank you, Nick.
Listen. As pee related stories go, I want you to know, Nick, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're an 8.
Oh man, ouch. Hey, there's one really important thing that I want our audience.
Way out of here.
There's one Nick, that was terrible. There's one really important thing I want our audience to understand today.
Nick, I think you were number 1 in my eyes, Nick. So don't even listen to Kevin.
Ooh, Desiree's getting in on the action here. You're in trouble.
Nice. You're in trouble.
I just
everyone.
said that, Desi. You can't steal my tag.
Hey, maybe she was just
sorry.
complimenting you.
I'm sorry, Dave Behrens. I'm interrupting Dave Behrens.
Oh.
Storyonthespot.live is almost as cool as this guy.
Yeah, I have a mullet now.
All right, everyone. So I'm putting down at the bottom all our websites. There's jimheskett.com, kevintumlinson.com, ramkigi.com, nickthacker.com, and Craig A. Hart, who is not with us today. Also, if you don't want to remember all those websites, you can just go to storyonthespot.live, and you'll find out more about the show as well as past episodes and stuff like that. You can also see where Kevin is pointing. You can also, if you're watching this on a laptop or a desktop or on an iPad, on a tablet, you can just take out your phone and point your camera at that little strange thing up there in the corner, and that will take you right to the website. And then you don't even have to type a single thing. Save your thumbs from your phone keyboard and just use the QR scanner instead. All right, everyone, any parting words of wisdom? Anybody got an announcement they need to make?
Don't eat yellow snow.
Fair enough.
Vote for Kevin.
Don't
Vote
drink
for
from
Kevin.
the hemp bucket.
Don't drink
Do
the
not
weed
drink
pee.
from the hemp bucket.
Don't drink the weed pee. It's bad. It's probably going to steal your soul or do something. All
There's-
right, everyone, thanks for
There's
tuning
your
in.
title.
We'll see you next week.